Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the great Dr. Manny Singh. He is a nationally known thought leader when it comes to wellness, and we're going to be talking about everything from weight loss drugs to peptides next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I think you'll agree with me that we know more about how the body works than ever before in human history, and yet as a country we get sicker and sicker. We have a obesity epidemic, and so to talk about wellness today, Dr. Manny Singh. He's the founder of the Wellness Spot and Inspire Body Centers. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Absolutely. How did this begin for you?
So as a chiropractor, obviously, we don't think about obesity in terms of the medical side of things. So as a functional medicine doc and someone that's been trying to use supplementation and all of our tools in the bag in terms of holistic medicine to treat our clients, we were seeing success, but not to the scale that we would all like. And obesity being almost, you could say, a pandemic in the country.
Yes.
When we saw the rise of, we can use the terms like Ozempic or some of these other medications that were brought to market by the big pharmaceutical companies, it was intriguing, but at the same time, we didn't know how they would work and how they would fit into the model. And it was pretty much last year when, and I mean, we could share a personal story. My wife thought about it because she was struggling with some of those things herself, and she went to a medical doctor, and the doctor didn't seem to have a good understanding of how this stuff works. But he's like, yeah, these medications can really help you lose weight. I don't know how to prescribe them. She came back to me, and having the network of some of the doctors and friends that we had at our office, I reached out to some. I was like, hey, how can we try to bring this to our clients? Does this make any sense? Is this safe?
Yes.
So that's where the journey kind of began. And long story short, Rach was able to lose over 60, 70 pounds on these medications. And not only just the weight aspect, that's where we began to implement the holistic side. So we've made we've come a long way in terms of the connections that we made with the pharmaceutical side. So compounding is a big term that comes to,
Yes.
And that's how we're able to do it on the legal side of things, where
Yes.
we're not butting heads with big pharma. We're able to personalize these medications and injections for patients,
Yes.
make them more holistic, and also make sure that they're not having the side effects that the patients would have while they're taking
Yes.
some of the mainstream meds.
And I want to come back to weight loss drugs in a minute, but we're going to put up your chiropractic site because you've been doing this for 13 plus years. When you think about obesity, that plays a role in almost everything, your knees, your back. So getting the weight off is so critical for the overall
100%.
Right?
So that was kind of the real premise behind the thought. And that's what brought me to functional medicine. So a lot of clients, if an individual can lose 10, 20, without getting into the nitty-gritty science of it, if they can lose that much weight, the amount of pressure they take off their joints, so to keep it basic, it's astronomical. And we see the drop in pain levels just from that alone. So it was kind of a marriage that was waiting to happen.
Well, explain how it works, because this has been out there in the universe for a couple of years now. People have heard about the different weight loss drugs. Does it make you feel full? Does it treat diabetes?
Right.
All of the above?
Kind of all of the above. So what we're seeing is it's a control of the metabolic centers. Now, advice coming from the medical side, there's not enough research on how exactly they work metabolically on so many different levels, but we're seeing things like from female health, PCOS is being treated and cured with it. cardiac issues. And these are just some of the side effects, which are considered good effects
Yes.
of the medications, but weight loss being the main one. So being a medication or a product that was produced for diabetes,
Yeah.
weight loss was one of the biggest things that they were noticing. So 5 to 10 pounds a month is what an average patient is able to lose.
Kidding. So if you're one of those like people who like to snack, like they watch TV and they're snacking,
Yes.
your belly feels full and you don't
Now
feel
coming
the
back
need?
to the
Yeah.
yes, so now if we think about how it works on just the layman language, it does make you feel fuller. So it tells the brain that you're full. So the cravings really get shut off, and that is a huge factor aside from all the other metabolic benefits that we get.
Yes.
And that's really how we're seeing a big change with a lot of folks.
Incredible. We're going to pull up your website on the medical weight loss side of the company.
Correct.
Is this really exploding for you right now?
It is. So how this kind of arose for us was seeing how well our patients did. We were able to help thousands of individuals not only lose weight, but seeing all the health benefits. So we were talking about the aches, pains, joints, and some of those issues.
Yes.
And then we also get into the other issues, talking about metabolic health and diabetes and so forth. And that's where we realized we could bring this to the market to help a lot more of the country.
Yes.
And most medical practitioners, whether it be doctors, chiropractors, even medical spas that are trying to do regenerative medicine, they didn't know how to scale or use these products.
Yes.
And that was the birth of the Inspired Body Centers.
Well, it's almost a miracle drug. It's been around for a long time. It just didn't really come to market until recently.
Absolutely. I think the research wasn't there, and at that point, the understanding of it and what it didn't really, play effect. And now we're understanding that more than 10 to 15% of Americans may be taking some form of a GLP-1 analog, if you want to call it.
Right, which is just a fraction of the people who need it.
Absolutely.
So you have a wonderful before and after page on your website. Let's go ahead and scroll down that, and maybe you can talk about some of the images that we're seeing. These are not actors and actresses.
Correct. So a lot of the clients that we're seeing, so the focus that we add from the holistic side to a lot of these images that you'll see, some of the misconception is that there's loose skin and all of these other issues that can occur. So the premise with us is we try to mitigate a lot of that. The main reason clients may get loose skin, so if you see a lot of these ladies here, they're not getting that as an issue because we're making sure they're nutritionally doing the right things as they're losing weight so that they're not affecting their muscle loss.
Yes.
So those are the things we try to really tie in on the holistic level.
Where do you see this going in the next 10 years? And I'll add to that, like, what age is safe? Can teenagers take this?
Yes, so from the medical doctors that we're hearing, our directors, they're saying as young as 12.
Really?
So we're having, you could say OBGYNs referring us teenagers that are having significant weight issues as a result of PCOS. So that's a big one. So a 13-year-old that's 300 pounds is going to significantly benefit from being on these injections.
Wow.
So 12 seems to be the age that we can use it.
And in the next decade, where do you see this going?
So we're seeing the explosion as we speak. So almost every major pharmaceutical company is already thinking about one of these products. And obviously, as any other medical product or device in the United States, it's not going to scale unless it's safe. So I think the safety profile has been understood.
Yes.
So now we know that as long as the sourcing is coming from the United States and it's correct, I see this literally being the future of weight loss in the country.
Wow. Well, let's spend some time talking about peptides.
Correct.
Because people have heard of peptides. They see advertisements for peptides.
Correct.
What do peptides do for the body?
So peptides generally are, you could say they're the building block for proteins. That's how most people would understand them. So without getting too much of the science, a chain of 40 peptides makes a protein. And proteins, most people understand as, even if you're eating meat, that's how you break down proteins and so forth. And what peptides do in the body is pretty dynamic. So the GLP-1s actually fall in the same category.
Really?
They don't tell the body prophylactically to do something, they signal things. That's why they're generally very safe. You could almost say they fall in the realm of supplementation.
Yes.
Now, the challenge has been on the medical side, how do we categorize them? Which is why I think medical doctors haven't gotten in this space. but it's becoming to enter the mainstream, particularly in regenerative medicine. And from there. So peptides signal the body to do different things. Some of the big ones we can get into, NAD+, a lot of folks may have heard of, and you on a regular basis now. It's not exactly a peptide, it's a coenzyme, but categorizing there. We need NAD+ as a fuel source for our body. And we're learning that our food is not giving us enough NAD+. That's where the supplementation is coming in.
And does, anybody could go on Amazon right now and put in NAD and probably find a dozen different products. Not every peptide is created equally.
No. So the caveat with the peptides, there are a lot of them. The major one being orally, they're not absorbed well. Primarily, our gastric juices destroy the peptides. So if you take it in an oral form, for many years as a chiropractor, I was taking NAD+. And now we realize that was just not absorbed. So injectable, subcutaneous. So the needles are very small, because I know there's an apprehension with individuals that come in, they're worried about intramuscular needles. They're insulin needles, if you want to call them. A quarter of an inch, if anything. So very small. And subcutaneous, meaning in the abdomen area or the gluteal. And that's how they're absorbed, and they're absorbed slowly. Now, if you buy them on Amazon, you're couple of caveats. You don't know the sourcing. Sourcing is, if you look up individuals like Dr. Andrew Huberman, and there's a few other folks that talk about these peptides on their podcasts, they will go on and explain how if you don't get the correct sourcing of these peptides, it can actually make you really sick.
Oh, no kidding.
Because the regulation really isn't there.
Wow. Okay, we have about a minute left. So Dr. Singh, what would you like to leave people with?
So I really do think, as revolutionary as the GLP world has been for most Americans already, the growth is only going to occur further. And from my experience as a holistic practitioner, I could say I do believe them from firsthand from my wife and our clients. You definitely want to get a trustable doctor. And if you happen to be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we're located in Colleyville. We work with great practitioners that could prescribe the GLP-1s. And then now we're actually able to get the peptides to the market as well. So we work with something that we would consider the gold standard in the industry, 503A pharmacies. Now, those are pharmacies that are vetted by the FDA, so we make sure of purity, and that's where we get all our sourcing from. So if there's any peptide that you want to try to consider, that's what you would want to do.
Outstanding. We're going to end with both of his websites. We'll start with his chiropractic website, which is wellnesschiro.com, and then we'll end with his weight loss website, which is inspirebodycenters.com. The great Dr. Manny Singh. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
It was a pleasure.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.